Hello everyone, I'm Laura Myers for CMS-Connected. Today I get to talk all about digital marketing, which also happens to be one of my favorite topics. Even more exciting, I get to speak with James Panagas, an expert in the marketing field who is currently working as the Director of PR and Analyst Relations at Kentico Software. Hello James, how are you doing today?
I am excellent. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I appreciate you getting into this conversation with me today about digital marketing. So I'm really curious to start off with just your thoughts on what the landscape looks like today.
Very, I thought a lot about this, and it's such a huge topic. I mean, the digital landscape has changed so much, even in the last couple of years. You have to wonder, where's it going to end up? So, which is why I'm really enjoy having this conversation with you. I think we can start with just talking about the rich array of technology that's out there. There's so many digital, marketing, customer experience, web content management companies that are out. Adobe, Marketo, Kentico, and many, many others. And the technology is just coming down the pike at an incredible clip. And you have now a push towards the cloud, right? So a lot of these products were host-based for many years and very successful. But now the industry seems to be pushing for, let's move some of this to the cloud so that we can take away all the administration and so forth and just focus on, using the product on a daily basis. So it's using the product in a less cumbersome environment, if you will, where all the backroom stuff is being handled for you automatically. It's great stuff. And there's some side benefits to that too. If we move to the cloud, for example, we can make improvements to the software faster than ever possible before, because we don't have to roll out, we don't have to press CDs and mail them to people or download them. When we put them online, they're live immediately. We've already had instances where we had a conversation with a client, at a trade show, and a few weeks later, they realized that what they were talking about had become reality in Kentico already. Fascinating stuff, absolutely. So the pace of change is almost frightening, And what also gets interesting is I'm a big fan or big proponent of kind of looking at the human side of this equation. So a couple of things to look at there. The types of people who are going to use this technology, right, are marketers and developers. And over time, what's happening is that with more drag and drop technologies, marketers are able to do more and more with less and less dependence or reliance on developers. So it's really, I feel for some of these end user companies because in many respects, they're drinking from a fire hose. They're trying to use all of this technology that's just coming at them so fast. And we find with a lot of customers, they're only using a fairly small percentage of what the products can really do, because they have to staff up. They have to figure out how do we use this? Where do we use this? What kind of people do we need to run all this? So the nature of who you're going to hire is even changing. I've been in the marketing industry for a long time. Today, it's much more a marketing technologist is, kind of the what they're looking for. You see ads all the time for, companies looking for people with Marketo or Adobe or Kentico experience because they need to run these systems. So it's a very, very different marketing environment than it was even just a few years ago.
That empowerment of the marketer in walking on the IT side of things is a great thing to bring up. It used to be when companies chose a marketing platform, they would look at what the time commitment was for the IT team, and now you're seeing marketers blurring that line to become marketing technologists, as you mentioned.
It is, and I'm not sure the talent pool, quite frankly, is deep enough. I don't know if there's enough marketing technologists out there right now for the appetite that's out there. So it's going to be challenging.
That talent pool being deep enough is an interesting thing to think about as well. Having previously worked in the higher education sector at one point, it's always interesting to me to think of how these new demands can trickle down into the evolving education of marketers to elevate that IT understanding, or even when I think about people who choose to proactively develop themselves as sought-after employees, how they can add this component to their craft.
Well, that's almost the whole topic in itself. I'm more of a classical marketer, so when I joined the craft, copywriting, graphic design, videography, photography were all, highly desirable skills. Today, it's much more of a technology play. Which systems can you run? Which systems can you optimize? What results can you bring to my business? So it's kind of a pendulum swinging, and right now the marketing pendulum is swinging way over to the technology side. I believe though that over time it will swing back because you need both sets of skills to really be an effective marketer. I certainly want people who can write and who appreciate good design, and can run these technologies. It's terrific. That'd be a win-win in my view. But we're not there yet.
Technology is a big one, but what areas do you think will see the most growth in?
I think you're going to see the tentacles, if you will, from these digital marketing systems grow longer and deeper, right? So you're going to want to get information from your CRM system, from your finance system, from your sales platform, from your HR platform, so that you have a much more 360-degree view of your customers and your prospects. And what that's going to allow you to do is make less, I hate to call them mistakes, let's call them missteps, right? Because we've all had them, right? I mean, this happens all the time. I just bought something on Amazon, but they keep sending me ads for the next 6 weeks because they don't know I bought it already. So that drives me crazy. I get a phone call and somebody's trying to sell me skylights, not realizing I live in a middle floor of a high-rise condominium complex. Kind of a bad intel, if you will. Or sometimes direct information. I've gone to webinars, for example, strictly for informational purposes. I filled out their forms saying that I'm just here for the info. I'm not a sales opportunity. Please do not call me. And the next day they're calling me. And it's like, so is sales ignoring the system, or did the information not get to them? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You need to trust in these systems, and you need to get them more connected so that they have access to more and more information.
These can also have a negative effect on the customer experience as well. How do you see that evolving in the future of digital marketing?
If I knew that, I'd be sitting on a beach in the Caribbean. But I have some thoughts. I think that there are going to continue to be just quantum leaps in technology. I think, in the future, there's going to be a lot more, has to be much more voice interaction, voice operation of these systems. Look at what Amazon's doing with Alexa, what Apple's doing with Siri. I mean, think about it. I was listening to a talk show the other day, and somebody was giving an example like, "Hey Alexa, I'm running out of almonds. Can you take care of that?" And Alexa knows what kind of almonds you like, where you typically buy them from, how much it costs. It has your credit card info. It places the order and says, "Done. It'll be here next Tuesday." That's incredible. And that leads me to my next point, which is I think the marketing is going to become more welcome than it is today. Today, it's sometimes intrusive. Sometimes it's a mistake. But you feel like you're being sold to at times. And in the future, I think it's going to be more reminder-based marketing, as we have this Internet of Things, right, that we're tying into. So now you can have all these videos, LCD screens on your refrigerator, on your stove, on your toaster, in your car. And it's going to just remind you, "Hey, Laura, your mother's birthday is next week. Do you want to order something?" "Right, thanks." Or, "Hey, Jim, I see your tennis racket. Haven't strung it in 6 months. It's about time." These are going to be welcome reminders. So yes, you're selling something, but I want it and I need it. So as the technology evolves and matures, it's going to be we're going to become much more receptive to it, I think, and it's going to be something we need, because we just can't remember, we can't do it all.
That intelligence aspect seems so much better received when customers don't feel intruded upon, when they're excited for it, or it makes their life easier. That always brings up the idea of personalization as well, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
It is. It's got tremendous potential. But it also has potential for abuse. We don't want to get fat and lazy and not do anything for ourselves anymore either. And you certainly want to exercise your mind and not have reminding you of everything you're supposed to remember. But that being said, we're as a society so much busier today than we were 20 years ago, 100 years ago. My God, think of when it was an agrarian economy. They had to remember to eat, sleep, and plow the field. Today you've got all sorts of equipment you're maintaining, vehicles, homes. You're buying things all over the place. It's a lot. So the technology can make your life a lot easier. And I think it's going to be incumbent on companies to embrace the technology and use it responsibly. right? So they've got to think, how do we want this to be? How do we want people to feel about us talking to them? How do we make it a positive experience every single time? You don't want to, like you said, intrude on people. That's a whole nother ball of wax.
As the industry moves forward with all these advances in technology and automation, you really have to wonder where the human touch still fits in and how users can build trust in these systems when leaving them to do what they're supposed to do.
I think it's limitless because there's so many opportunities for personalization. So it's where do you work? What kind of car do you? I mean, think about this. Think about I've got this voice activated marketing tool like Alexa sitting in my living room, and I say, hey Alexa, I'm thinking about a new car. Go do some research for me and let me know what you find out, right? And it knows that I'm an early adopter of technology. It knows that I like luxury. It knows that I high gas mileage. So it has all these factors, and it's going to go and sift through all this extraneous information that I don't have to look at. And it's going to say, hey Jim, here are the top 5 cars that I think you should look at, and I'll probably pick one, right? Because it knows me. It's going to a lot more about me. What my spending patterns are. How's my job situation at the moment? How often do I drive? I mean, it's limitless how much personalized information these systems could manage over time. So it's almost limitless when you think about this. That's why I was excited about having this conversation with you. So it's just so much fun to even think about it. And with the rate of technological change, all these things become possible. Think about how rapidly, I was thinking about this before the call, think about how rapidly we've gone from a gasoline-powered car to a hybrid to fully electric cars. Very short period of time, 10 years. How fast we've gone from a car-based phone to a flip phone to a smartphone, even less time. Those cycles are getting shorter and shorter.
That's such a great thing to leave us with, James. Thank you so much for taking some time to have this conversation with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Absolute pleasure, Laura. Thanks. Anytime.
James has a long history in this field and has seen the rapid evolution as tech happen firsthand. And as you could see, he and I definitely share in the excitement of exploring that question of what's next and discussing those limitless possibilities. So that's something we'll always make sure that we cover here on CMS Connected.